Snow covered the small town like a soft blanket, and the night was quiet except for the sound of bells far away. Inside a warm house, a man named Thomas sat near the fireplace. He wore a red coat, and his long white beard made him look like the very stories children believed in. He was not just any man. He was the one who carried gifts across the stars, the one who humans whispered about as Santa. Tonight felt different. The fire burned bright, and a plate of cookies sat ready on the table. But as Thomas reached for one, he froze. There was movement by the window. He thought it was a shadow, but then came a sound soft, almost like the cry of a newborn. He turned. And there it was. Small, shivering, with scales that caught the firelight like jewels. A creature no human had ever seen before. Its eyes were big, golden, and filled with fear and curiosity. Two tiny wings folded against its body, and smoke puffed gently from its little nose. Thomas leaned closer. His heart beat fast, but his hand stayed steady. "Well now," he whispered, "what are you doing here on Christmas Eve?" The creature tilted its head. It was no bigger than a house cat, yet its presence filled the room with something powerful, something ancient. Thomas had seen many wonders across his journeys, but never a living dragon. Outside the window, the stars shone brighter, as if the universe itself was watching. Thomas knew this was no accident. Humanity had always believed Christmas was about giving, about hope. But what if the galaxy had sent its own gift? The baby dragon let out a small sound and crawled toward the cookies. Thomas smiled. "Hungry? Are you?" He slid the plate closer. The little creature sniffed the air, then took a cookie gently in its mouth. Its wings fluttered, and for a moment, sparks of light danced in the air like tiny fireworks. Thomas felt something stir deep inside him. This was not just a visitor. This was a message. The galaxy had sent something fragile and powerful into human hands. And somehow he knew this gift would change more than Christmas. It would change everything, but not everyone in the universe would see the dragon as a gift. Somewhere beyond the stars, eyes were already watching. Powerful empires, alien lords, beings that feared humanity's growing spirit. They had searched for this creature for centuries. And now, of all places, it had landed here, in the hands of a human. Thomas reached out and gently touched the dragon's head. Its scales were warm, and it leaned into his hand like a child finding comfort. He whispered, "Don't worry, little one. You're safe with me." But deep in his heart, he knew safety would not last long. The night was only beginning, and the true war for this gift was about to start. The baby dragon curled near the fire, its small body glowing softly in the warmth. Thomas watched it carefully. Every movement of the little creature seemed unreal. It was fragile, yet there was something powerful inside it, like a hidden storm. Outside, snow kept falling. The world was calm, but Thomas knew the silence would not last. He could feel it. Somewhere far beyond Earth, there were eyes searching for this little dragon. And when they came, they would not come with kindness. The dragon lifted its head and stared at him. Its golden eyes shimmered like twin suns. Thomas felt as if the creature could see through him, into his memories, into the very spirit of humanity. Then, with a soft sound, the baby dragon crawled closer and pressed itself against his side. Thomas smiled faintly. "So you've chosen me," he whispered. But at the same moment, he felt a chill crawl up his spine. This was no ordinary meeting. The galaxy never gave without asking something in return. High above Earth, hidden ships moved quietly in the shadows of space. Alien empires had fought wars for this dragon's kind. To them, it was not a child, it was a weapon. A key that could shift power across the stars. And now, their prize had slipped from their grasp into human hands. Back on Earth, Thomas heard a faint sound outside the window. At first, he thought it was the wind, but then he saw shadows moving in the snow. His eyes narrowed. Whoever they were, They had come too soon. The dragon sensed it too. Its wings twitched, and a faint spark of fire lit in its mouth. Thomas raised a calming hand. "Easy, little one, not yet." The door rattled. A voice outside, strange and sharp, spoke in a language Thomas didn't understand. The dragon stiffened, its golden eyes turning fierce. Thomas stood, his heart steady. For centuries, he had carried gifts across the world, unseen, unchallenged. But tonight, for the first time, enemies had followed him home. The door burst open, and shapes entered, tall figures in dark armor, their bodies moving with unnatural speed. Their eyes glowed cold blue. They were not human. Thomas stepped in front of the dragon. "You won't take him," he said quietly. His voice was calm, but filled with steel. The aliens looked at him, confused. To them, he was only a man. An old man in red clothes. But the dragon growled, smoke curling from its nostrils, and in that instant, the room filled with a strange energy. The fire in the hearth roared higher. The air seemed to thrum with power. The aliens raised their weapons. Thomas clenched his fists. He had always been a bringer of gifts, of joy, of hope. But tonight, he realized something new. Sometimes humanity's greatest gift was not kindness. Sometimes it was the will to protect. The dragon leapt onto the table, wings flaring. Sparks lit the air. The aliens froze for just a moment. It was enough. Thomas whispered to the little creature, "Let's show them what Christmas means to humanity." And in the glow of fire and snow, the battle for the galaxy's gift began. The room shook as the aliens moved forward. Their armor glowed faintly, and their weapons hummed with strange energy. The fire crackled higher, shadows dancing wildly across the walls. The baby dragon stood tall on the table, its small chest rising and falling as sparks danced from its mouth. Thomas kept himself steady. He had faced storms, ice, and endless nights across centuries. But this was different. These were enemies who had crossed the stars. They had come not for Earth, but for this little creature. The first alien raised its weapon. A sharp beam of light cut through the air. Thomas moved quickly, pulling the heavy iron poker from beside the fire. The beam struck, but Thomas blocked, its sparks flying in all directions. His strength surprised even himself. The dragon roared, a tiny but fierce sound, and the air filled with heat. Flames shot from the dragon's mouth, striking the alien's armor. The creature staggered, its body smoking, and then fell heavily to the ground. The others hesitated. Their blue eyes flickered as they looked between the old human and the small dragon. To them, this should have been easy. Yet something about this house this night gave the human a strength they had not expected. One alien spoke in a harsh voice. Thomas did not understand the words, but the dragon reacted. Its golden eyes narrowed and its wings trembled. Thomas realized the creature knew their language. It understood the threat. The dragon looked at him, and in that instant Thomas felt something strange. A thought entered his mind, not his own, but clear as words. They want me. They will use me. They will burn worlds with my fire. Thomas froze. It was the dragon speaking, not with sound, but inside his mind. He understood now why the galaxy feared this little being. Its power was not only in fire, but in something deeper, something that could bend the course of war. The aliens advanced. Again, Thomas tightened his grip on the poker. "Not while I'm here," he said. His voice was calm, but the firelight in his eyes made the aliens pause. The dragon leapt from the table onto his shoulder. Its tiny claws held tight, and its wings spread wide. Together, man and creature stood against the intruders. The battle was short, but fierce. The aliens were fast, but the dragon's flames burned hotter than their weapons. Thomas struck with surprising strength, his every move guided by something greater than himself. When the last alien fell, the room grew silent again. The dragon climbed down, curling beside the fallen cookies. It looked at Thomas with bright eyes, tired but trusting. Thomas sat heavily in the chair, breathing hard. He had fought battles of a different kind before: frost, storms, and the endless march of time. But this fight had been different, and it was only the beginning. Outside, high above Earth, the alien ship still circled in the dark. This was just the first wave. More would come, and they would not underestimate humans again. Thomas looked at the dragon. He felt the thought in his mind once more: they will not stop. But together, we can make them fear. Thomas nodded slowly. Then we'll give them a Christmas they'll never forget. Asterisk, the night grew quiet again, but Thomas knew it was only a short piece. The baby dragon rested by the fire, its small body glowing faintly, but its golden eyes stayed open, alert. Outside, the snow kept falling, hiding the tracks of the battle. Above Earth, hidden in the darkness of space, more ships moved. They were not small scouts this time. These were warships, large and heavy, carrying the power to destroy entire cities. The alien empire had sent its hunters first, but now they prepared their armies. Thomas felt the weight of it. He had never asked for war. For centuries, he had given hope in silence, crossing rooftops and chimneys unseen. But tonight, the galaxy had chosen him. A gift had been left in his care, and enemies had followed it across the stars. The dragon raised its head and looked toward the window. Once again, Thomas felt the voice inside his mind. They are coming. They will not stop until they take me. Thomas leaned forward, his eyes firm. Then we won't let them take you. Not tonight. Not ever. The dragon tilted its head, and for the first time, Thomas felt something more than fear from it. He felt trust. The creature's small wings stretched, and sparks of fire floated in the air like tiny stars. Far away, across the snowy plains, lights began to glow in the sky. They were not from the moon or the stars. They were engines, alien ships breaking through the clouds. Thomas stood. He knew he could not face this alone. Humanity had to see. Humanity had to stand. For too long, the galaxy had believed Earth was weak, a quiet world at the edge of the stars. But now with this gift, the truth would be revealed. The dragon gave a soft growl. A spark burst in its mouth, but this time the fire did not burn the room. Instead, a light spread through the air, forming shapes, visions. Thomas saw planets, battles, alien fleets stretching across the void. And he saw something else, the fear that spread among them. When they whispered about humanity, they had not feared Earth's weapons. They had not feared Earth's armies. What they feared was something deeper, the will to fight, even when all seemed lost. The dragon's vision showed him worlds where empires had fallen because of that same human spirit. The sound of engines grew louder. The house shook as snow slid from the roof. Thomas reached for his coat, pulled it tight, and looked at the dragon. "If they want to see humanity's gift," he said quietly, "then we'll show them together." The dragon leapt to his shoulder again, its golden eyes glowing brighter than the fire. Outside, beams of light cut through the sky as the alien fleet descended. But the humans were not blind. Across Earth, satellites caught the signals. Radar screens lit up. Pilots scrambled. Soldiers looked to the sky, confused at first, then afraid, and finally determined. Humanity had seen invasions before, but never from the stars. This time, they would fight not only for Earth, but for something greater. Thomas stepped outside, into the falling snow. The night air was cold, but he felt a fire inside him that nothing could put out. Above, the warships moved into position, their weapons glowing. The dragon spread its wings, and for a moment, Thomas felt the universe hold its breath. The battle for Christmas Eve and for the future of humanity was about to begin. The night sky burned with light as the alien fleet descended. Their massive ships floated above Earth like dark mountains, their weapons glowing with cold blue fire. The ground shook as engines roared, sending waves of fear across the towns below. Fear was not the only thing rising. Humanity had seen the threat, and humanity was answering. Fighter jets tore through the clouds, their engines screaming against the silence of spaceborne machines. Soldiers on the ground readied their weapons, staring upward with grim faces. Across the world, radios carried one message: Earth is under attack. Stand together. Thomas stood in the snow, the baby dragon perched on his shoulder. Its golden eyes blazed with firelight, its wings spread wide. For a moment, he looked more than a man, he looked like a guardian chosen by fate. The first strike came from above. A beam of energy cut through the night, blasting a crater into the forest beyond the town. The ground trembled, and flames licked the sky. But before the second beam could fall, the dragon leapt from Thomas's shoulder and roared. It was no longer a small cry. The sound echoed across the fields, shaking windows, sending fear even into the alien soldiers above. Fire erupted from its mouth, a stream of golden flame that reached the clouds. One of the smaller alien ships caught the fire full in its hull. Metal melted, and the craft spun out of control, crashing in a blaze of light. Cheers erupted from the humans watching. For the first time, they saw hope not from their weapons, but from something ancient and powerful, standing with them on their own soil. The aliens responded. Hundreds of dark shapes poured from the larger ships, armored soldiers dropping through. The clouds like shadows. Their blue eyes glowed as they marched forward, weapons ready to claim the dragon. Thomas stepped into their path. He carried no gun, no sword, only the strength of his hands and the fire of his spirit. "If you want him," he said, his voice steady, "you'll have to go through humanity first." And humanity answered. Jets streaked above, missiles firing into the alien ranks. Tanks rolled onto snowy fields, their cannons thundering. Soldiers shouted as they charged, bullets and fire filling the night. The world that had once seemed small rose together, not as frightened people, but as a force ready to fight. The dragon soared above the battlefield, its wings glowing like molten steel. Every roar sent waves of flame across the sky. Alien machines fell one after another, burning in the snow. The soldiers of Earth pushed forward, stronger with every step, but the alien fleet was vast, and their weapons burned with power far beyond human machines. Beams of energy sliced through tanks, shattered buildings, and lit the sky with destruction. Humanity fought bravely, but the cost was heavy. Thomas raised his eyes to the largest ship above the flagship. He could feel its presence like a shadow, pressing down on him. That ship carried the commanders, the ones who had hunted the dragon across the stars. If it fell, the others might retreat. The dragon circled back, landing beside him in the snow. Its golden eyes met his. Once again, the voice touched his mind. "Together, we can end this," Thomas nodded. He placed his hand on the dragon's head, feeling the warmth and power beneath its scales. "Then let's finish what they started." The dragon roared, and Thomas climbed onto its back. The small creature had grown in the fire of battle. Its wings spread wide, stronger, brighter, filled with energy that shook the air. With one mighty beat, they rose into the sky. Soldiers below looked up in awe. The image burned into their hearts. A man in red, riding a dragon of fire, leading humanity's charge against the stars. The flagship loomed above, its weapons glowing, ready to strike. But Thomas and the dragon did not slow. They rose higher, fire trailing behind them, until they were a streak of light against the dark. The galaxy had come to Earth expecting fear. Instead, it found fire, and the greatest gift of humanity was about to be delivered. The dragon's wings cut through the frozen air, each beat sending tremors through the night sky. Thomas held tight, his red coat snapping in the wind. Below, the battlefield roared with fire and steel, humans fighting with everything they had. Above, the flagship loomed like a dark sun, its cannons glowing with deadly blue light. The aliens inside watched with cold eyes. To them, humans were only a primitive species, soft and weak. Yet now, one old man and a baby dragon were flying straight into their strongest ship, and the human armies below refused to break. Fear, for the first time, touched their hearts. The flagship fired. A massive beam of energy split the sky, burning toward Thomas and the dragon. For a heartbeat, the world seemed to hold its breath. The dragon roared, and fire exploded from its mouth, golden and pure. It met the beam head-on. Light and fire clashed in the air, brighter than the sun. The snow on the ground melted, the clouds tore apart, and every soldier on earth looked upward, blinded by the brilliance. For a moment, it seemed the dragon would fall. Its small body trembled under the force, its wings straining. But then Thomas leaned forward, his voice calm and steady. "Are not alone. Humanity stands with you." The dragon's eyes flared, golden fire blazing from within. Its body grew brighter, larger, filled with the strength of every human heart watching below. With a final roar, it pushed forward. The golden flame broke through the alien beam, tore through the flagship shields, and struck the ship with a storm of fire. The flagship shook. Its engines screamed. The glow of its weapons faded, and then the ship split apart in a burst of light that turned night into day. The explosion echoed across the sky, and every alien ship around it faltered. Without their leader, they had no will. One by one, the invaders pulled back, vanishing into the stars. Earth was safe. Humanity had stood its ground, and the galaxy had been forced to witness it. Thomas and the dragon descended slowly, landing in the snow where soldiers gathered. The men and women who had fought through fear now stood in silence, staring at the sight before them, an old man in red, his beard white as snow, and a dragon glowing like the heart of a star. The dragon curled at Thomas's feet, smaller again, tired but alive. Its golden eyes looked at the humans around it, and once more Thomas felt its voice inside his mind. They thought humanity weak. Tonight, they saw the truth. "The gift is not me. The gift is you." Thomas nodded, his eyes soft. He understood now. The dragon had not come to bring fire to earth. It had come to reveal what was already here, the courage, the spirit, the unyielding heart of humanity. That night, Christmas was not about toys or food or gifts left under trees. It was about something greater, a reminder to the galaxy itself. Humanity would not kneel, and in the centuries to come, across distant worlds and star-filled skies, stories would be told of the night Earth first stood tall. They would speak of the baby dragon, the man in red, and the fire that shocked the galaxy. It was the night humanity gave its greatest gift, hope.